Hello there. While our attention is focused by the media on Trump, Venezuela and Iran, Keir Starmer is about to use so-called international law to stitch the UK up again. First there was Chagos, then there was the Gibraltar border. This time it's resubmitting to the grasping European Union via yet another deal. Wherever he's getting his orders from, they always disadvantage the UK. And it more and more looks like all he really wants to be is an appointed governor, with someone else pulling the strings. But this time, Starmer will use international law to agree to the UK paying stupendous levels of fines should any future government come along and walk away from his new EU deal. And this is far more serious than it sounds, because it won't stop there. Starmer and the EU are insisting that the UK has no way out of this new agreement, an agreement that would once again make the UK as a whole submit to Brussels and its European Court of Justice. They are attempting to bind any future government from taking back sovereignty after Starmer's Labour has given it away so easily. All part of the woke Marxist preparations for their scorched earth policies prior to them being comprehensively swept from power. And binding a future government means binding future voters as well. That's us, folks. And that's on top of robbing us of many of our elections in May as well. And Labour right now is bleating about the absolute need for Greenland to maintain its sovereignty from Trump. But he's quite happy to trade hours away to all comers for a mess of pottage. You just could not make this up. He's also out there demanding the world defends the borders of Ukraine and offering up our troops to help, while doing all he can to dismantle our UK borders. And if there are any troops to send to Ukraine, Starmer will ensure they can be chased through the courts for decades to come should they make a single mistake. Or offend someone, I reckon. Anyway, what this new Starmer-driven EU-UK law will really do is protect the EU from us walking away from a food and drink trade deal. But it does not protect the UK in any shape or form. And food and drink will just be the start. And remember, our armed forces, in fact our whole defence structure, is due to be hoovered up by the EU machine as well. Don't forget that. People, it keeps sliding from consciousness, that one does. But more importantly to the EU and Starmer, this new deal will probably prevent the UK from striking such deals with other nations around the world, because we will be tied into EU rules once again, unable to make our own trade deals. Even the weak Brexit deal the Tories cobbled together isn't as bad as this one. In fact, I'm wondering if many of the trade deals we have struck around the world post-Brexit will have to be scrapped. It just shows how weak Keir Starmer is, or possibly how determined he is to pull the rug out from under UK independence. Anyway, there you have it. And just to let you know, Richard isn't feeling very well at all. I'm recovering, as you can see. Still not 100%, but Richard is definitely nowhere near even 50%, and I think he'd be the first to agree. Yeah, as Lord Viking said earlier on, hope you're better, Jeff. It sucks to be sick. Yes, it does suck to be sick, and it's not very good. Now, one commenter here, I'm just going to go and find him. He started off by saying basically, here we go, John Francis, Starmer doesn't make the decisions, Jeff, neither does Trump or any world leader. How many times you got to be told? The trouble is, if every single world leader is getting their instructions from one single person, Why haven't they all just declared war on each other? Why don't they just do it? We've got to get there. If one person is going to take charge, we've got to get there somehow. And that means fighting the good people. That's what they'll be doing, fighting the good people. What we've got to decide is who are the good people fighting back. And I tend to think that Trump is one of those good people, one of the few. So there you go. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. I may be completely wrong, but I just get the idea that we're not going to see something just sort of happen. It's got to be fought for. Mirror says Brexit is a complete waste of time. Well, the Brexit we got, which wasn't Brexit in name only was, but we need a government in that's going to fight for it to be done properly, because that's the way you hold off all this internationalist claptrap, isn't it? Yeah, as Steve says, this is England. We're protected by English constitutional law. Up to a point, yes. It's which laws are being enforced, which is the big problem. It's just like if you vote people in who have a belief that international law must take precedence over everything, then they will uphold that law, not English law. It's who you vote for and who's in power and has the guns, has the police, has the courts. You get the idea. Yes. President Trump, send in the troops. Yeah, I think he's committed a bit at the moment. I mean, I'm hearing that he's looking at Iran with very cold eyes because of what's going on over there. It's getting pretty... I think we're only being told a tenth of the story, to be honest. You know, the numbers coming out of those that have given their lives for their beliefs in that country. I think we're only being told a small amount of what's really going on over there. It's if you look at the footage coming out, it looks pretty intense. I'll say that. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. I'm sure Richard will appreciate that, John Mack. Thank you. Yeah, Trump is king. No. Jesus is king. Come on. Get with the program. Yeah, Trump's half Scottish. Trump for the next prime minister. Yeah, well, that would be an interesting thing, wouldn't it? Can you imagine him being both the prime minister and the president? That would be a different one. Yes. Yeah, this is a good point. The UK army needs to be fighting in the UK, not Starmer's war in Ukraine. This woman is bringing in thousands every day. Planes don't stop him. Now he will arm them all. Yeah, this is... Yeah, I've heard stories about that. Yeah, about... and I've been told that privately as well by people that they know. I've not been told it by someone who's seen it, but I've been told by people who've been told directly by friends that they have seen it. Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, one of the things that we're being told about signing this new trade deal is it will increase exports of our food and drink into the EU. But to do so, we will have to obey all their animal and plant laws whenever they change them or whenever they introduce new ones. Dynamic alignment, or rule by facts, as they call it. But all these food and drink laws are made by the European Union to benefit, yes, you've got it, the EU member state businesses and their food and drink producers. Any initial benefit we might, and I say might, get from it will soon be eroded away when EU businesses start saying the usual thing, that the EU is there to protect EU business and make sure they grow rich, not UK businesses. Because it's a protection racket. That's what it's all about. Protecting the common agricultural policy and all the rest of it. Then the push will be on to keep giving us ever more inferior access to their markets until we apply to join their EU club. A club that is dwindling in international importance by the day. Why is Starmer still intent on going back in when the EU share of the international GDP is declining? Germany is in severe trouble, and so is France, and so is Italy. They're bound, and we are bound by all these net zero rules. What if we're going to get all this food and drink trade if we have such high energy prices that we can't sell it at a good price anyway? We're shutting down our own hospitality business in the form of pubs, aren't we? That's becoming too expensive to run. We need cheap energy. We need to start doing things. We need to start making things. But we're not. And if we do make things, it's just too expensive. I just say, Lord Viking says, blood is boiling. Oh, if I take any more vitamin D and vitamin C, quercetin, zinc, iron, or whatever else it is, all the herbs and this, that, and the other, I'll be absolutely as healthy as anything, but it's just taking its time. This particular brand of, I've never had it this long. It must be, in total, it must be something like 4 weeks now. I'm getting better, but I can't take any more vitamins. I'd rattle around. Yeah, God bless Mr. Trump. I still say that some may claim he's just yet another actor. I don't get that impression. I really don't. But I may be wrong. Yeah, I love my country, says Lee, but I'd rather go to prison than fight for Starmer. Well, Starmer's UK. Yeah, it's got to that point, hasn't it? It's got to that point, really, where people are so upset with what's going on and the way the country's going, and now that suddenly we're talking about potential of war, they're trying to get back on side with us, aren't they? They treated us, the British public, like inferior plebs for the last 30 or 40 years, thinking that war was behind them and they don't have to worry about that anymore. All they have to do is push the internationalist agenda. And now it looks like there might be a war somewhere and there's all this strife out there. They're trying to get us back. Oh, we love you, really. And they start waving. You watch the next election, the next general election. In fact, these May elections, I reckon there'll be a lot of Union Jack flag waving from the people that you won't expect it from. They're trying to get you back on side. Don't fall for it. Oh dear, I'm not a Jew. I'm not a Jew. I'm sorry to disabuse you of it. I'm not a Jew. Yeah, Fabian Society and the WEF EU orders control the UK. That's only because we let them. But there's so many people, the Fabians, sheep in, they're wolf in sheep's clothing, should I say. Yes, they're everywhere. And so is Tony Blair's Institute. They're everywhere as well. And the World Economic Forum is tied up. It believes in the same sort of things that the EU does. Big corporate businesses being controlled by governments, small businesses wiped out. So everybody either works for government or the big corporates. End. And then they have this big partnership, and we're all very happy because we don't have to get up and think about anything because we're told what to do every day. Yeah, I'm not sure if half of London is owned by Qatar, but a lot is. And this started, I remember these debates going on back in the 1970s. People were, when the oil money was flowing in and buying everything. So, yeah, it could well be half by now, I suppose. But a lot of it's going to be Chinese. So half by Qatar, half by China, and a bit Russian as well. But there you go. Kay Kieni says, I don't want to start a company anymore. My talents are for nobody. Sorry, England. yeah, this is a problem, isn't it? A, it's too expensive. B, you get taxed to the hilt. And then when you do try to run it, you find the business rates and the energy costs are huge. A lot of pubs are going to close down. In fact, I'll tell you something. I read a report yesterday that says it's going to affect churches. These new taxes, these new business rates, whatever it is, they're going to affect churches. They're going to be facing huge increased taxes. And I thought they were charities. I thought they wouldn't be affected, but this report says they would be. I'm going to have to look into that in a bit more detail, but I wonder if it is just churches. I wonder if other people will get reimbursed somehow. Allowances, minority allowances and all that sort of thing. Yeah, Anyway, now, the Eurocrats have called this new law, this wanting to impose huge taxes on us if we dare to try to leave their rule, all signed up for by the Labour's Starmer. They've called this the Farage Clause. But it won't just apply to Reform UK or to Nigel Farage. It will apply equally to any incoming government, whether it be Ben Habib's Advance UK, a Rupert Lowe-led party, or even Kemi Badenoch's Tories, if that were at all possible now anyway. But it affects the patriotic vote. It's you or us, the patriots, that are being tied down by this. We mustn't have a say in our own country. Oh no, that has to be given away. And if we try to take it back, we get fined and fined and fined again for doing so. So yeah, this is an anti-patriot law that's being brought in. We can't rule ourselves. These internationalists, they don't... Keir Starmer obviously does not want to run the country. He wants to get told what to do every day by international law and just apply that law as it comes in. That's all he wants to do. Doesn't want to think about anything. And he's shown us that he can't think about much. So there you go. And the whole aim, of course, is to prevent patriots undoing all their nasty little shenanigans. They want to tie us up. And they've got no shame in that. No shame at all. That's what I remember reading about Angela Rayner while she was still relevant, and she may well start being relevant again if a lot of people in Labour get their way. She was saying that they're going to introduce laws that no one can ever change again. They were going to change society for good, totally and utterly for the future for them. And this is the sort of way they would do it, as far as I can see. And as ever with these sorts of things, mission creep will ensue, and the influence of the EU and anyone else that Keir Starmer can sign up an international agreement with will permeate right through our institutions once again, if it ever truly left in the first place. And if Starmer gets away with this, expect a whole raft of similar UK-EU deals to follow. Now, both Nigel Farage and Kemi Badenoch have confirmed they would scrap this new deal should they win the next general election. But will Starmer try to stitch them up? You bet he will. You bet he will. So these massive fines are being put in place to deter them from doing so, using the argument that it protects the European Union. Well, I've got a better idea. If the European Union is so worried that people like Kemi Badenoch, Nigel Farage or Rupert Lowe or Ben Habib will undo their deal, then don't sign up to the deal in the first place. Wait and see what happens after Labour is ousted from office. Then negotiate in good faith with the new, hopefully more patriotic government. Yeah. Good point there. The only thing slowing down the dinghies is the weather. Of course it is. It's the only. In fact, if they thought they could get them across, more of them across in the bad weather, they would. Good point there from Chris Danks. Here you go. Richard, get some Manuka honey and hot lemon juice. Yeah, I think we've tried all these sorts of things. Richard and I have been swapping ideas about how best to defeat this lurgy that we've got. Yeah. I think this is probably a good assessment from Yaffa. Normal isn't coming back, but Jesus is. And then it will be normal, super normal. Yeah. Lord Viking, again, yeah, WEF is behind Starmer, Jeff. Yeah, I know that. He said that he prefers WEF to the Davos and the WEF to Westminster, hasn't he? He said that openly in a press interview. Said, yeah, I prefer it because I can work with those people because basically they're just dictating what we have to do. Yeah. Yeah, Brexit, but they rexed it, says Jen Selly. Absolutely, they rexed it. The whole of Parliament, bar a few, and the whole of the Westminster blob, all the civil service, the whole lot of them, and the House of Lords especially. I don't know whether you know this, but the House of Lords, when the final Brexit votes were going through, they were taking food and drink and sleeping bags into the House of Lords for a long, endless session until they won. That's what they were doing. But they had so many on their side, they didn't need to do that. Now, the civil service is claiming that if it looks like Reform will get into power, then there will be a mass exodus from Whitehall and Westminster of all those civil service personnel. Yes, they're all going to bomb burst away. They will dust off their CVs and go and look for jobs elsewhere. That's what they say. I disagree. I don't think they will. They've got a good, nice number, good, nice pension. What are they going to do? They'll probably just fight Reform all the way. But if they do bomb burst out of Whitehall and disappear, then that gives us a damn good chance to rewrite all the candidate specs and all the job descriptions to remove all aspects of woke and Marxism from the whole shebang. So I actually would like to see them all leave. The trouble is, though, when they get their CVs out and start saying, well, if the civil service, we can't fight Reform, what we're going to do is go and join lots of other, organisations that are woke. Yeah, that's what they, send off, I'll go and join that woke organisation and that woke organisation. But the trouble is those woke organisations will be looking around going, well, actually, we should be less woke now. And they probably wouldn't hire them. I mean, would you hire a former civil service with, I did all these woke things, I passed all these woke courses all over it? They'd have to ditch all that. They'd have to halve their CV. In fact, 90% of their time is doing woke stuff. So 90% of what they've achieved will have to be left out, wouldn't it? So what did you do during your time? Only these few things? Well, that's not very impressive, is it? And you did all of this other woke stuff. That is definitely not impressive. So, yeah, anyway, that's just my take on that particular thing. Thank you, Yams Physical Catalogue of Media. I love my country, heritage, flags, and my Christianity. Absolutely, yes. And thank you, The Black Nothing. When the IRGC falls, so will one of Russia's major lifelines. Yes, absolutely. Starmer's war in Europe is a non-starter. Look at him laughing. Look at him laugh, pathetic cretin. Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, how many Iranian drones have been flying around all over the place and all that sort of thing? You've got to remember that Russia has been relying on, North Korean troops and various other things like that. So it's not as plain sailing as some people think. But yeah, it's a good point that when the Islamic Republican Guard Corps falls, which it should do, and we should proscribe it, and we should proscribe the Muslim Brotherhood, then we can really get some jobs done round here and start rebuilding our country. But it's going to take a lot to do that, a real lot. Patriot Act. Starmer's no patriot. We do need a real Treason Act, don't we? An updated, proper Treason Act with real teeth in it, so that when people are found discussing things with foreign powers, then we can actually do something about it, instead of sort of saying, well, that was part of the negotiations and stuff like that. Giving away the UK is not part of negotiations. A prime minister a few hundred years ago signing stuff away to Brussels would have probably found themselves in the Tower with a very short stay. Yeah. Yeah, this tying up of a Farage clause is absolutely disgusting. Yeah, it would just be the first. If that works, it's just the first one. And that particular agreement is going to be enforced by 2027. So what they're hoping is that for a couple of years, food and drink may flow more easily from the UK to the EU. And then GDP will rocket, we'll all be fantastically rich. Yeah, and then he'll get re-elected. That's what he thinks. Yeah. Good point here. Will all the immigrants flee the UK if civil war breaks out? Some would argue that it's not actually a civil war. It's more the delayed effect of a prolonged invasion, if you get my drift on that one. But yeah. Yeah, it's getting pretty tense out there, all I can say. And the US is already flying planes over Ireland and the UK without asking. They cannot stop the eagle. Well, they've been flying planes everywhere forever, especially those high-level bluebirds and all the rest of it. And you've got to remember, we got satellites flying over each other all over the place. So it's quite conceivable. But I think that when the Americans fly over, there will be an agreement in place. There will be something. Someone will know. Our airspace, our air traffic control might not, but I think the government will at the higher levels. Oh dear, you don't want me as Prime Minister. No, I'm far too old for that job. I've got other things to do nowadays, like trying to get my car started in the morning. Do you know, I got up this morning, I've missed church for 3 weeks now, and I got it, and it's been so cold, my battery had gone flat. And I didn't have a way of getting it going again. So I was just sat there looking at it going, someone's out to get me. You know, when everything's going wrong, someone's out to get me. So there you go. Yeah, as Mr. Jules says, everything is starting to look very sinister, Jeff. It is looking very sinister and has for quite some time. And it all looks to be coming to a head somehow, doesn't it? And I think if we do go down the route of seeing bombs flying everywhere more and more, one of them is going to end up being nuclear, I'm afraid to say. And once one goes, the lot go. That's how it works. So, yeah. But I'm not sure that's going to happen because I can't find any reference to that in the Bible. So, there you go. Right, yes, Lord Viking live again. Hit the like button, doing Richard's job here. Well done. Yes, hit the like button, subscribe and comment below. Get well, Blue Pen. I hope he's watching. He hasn't said anything. I'm not sure if he is, but yeah. Yeah, Russia has no intention of invading the UK. Yeah, didn't Russia say it had no intention of going into Ukraine? Yeah, anyway. Yeah, massive celebrations in London. Yeah, I wanted to be there today, but I decided that my health wasn't up to it. And as my car didn't start anyway, I wouldn't have been able to make it anyway. So it was a bit of a double whammy, that one. It kept me away from church and kept me away from London. So, because I have found an Orthodox church in London that I can go to and take communion. So I could have gone there first and then to the other event. But if I'd been well, that's what I would have done. But going out in the cold and the wet might have put me back a bit. So I decided to stay in the warm. But the massive celebrations in London, yes. And it was great to see the flag of Iran being taken off of their embassy, wasn't it? And replaced with the old one with the lion on it. So, and the bloke, as has been pointed out, that bloke who did that, fair play to him. If someone had opened the window and dragged him in, we probably would never have seen him again. Yes. Yes, Jesus is king. Oh, come on, Lee. Doomed, I tell you. Doomed. Yes. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've gone on for long enough. I'm still feeling a bit rough around the throat area, and it's not doing me much good talking all the time. And that's why I need Richard, so he can talk half the time and I can get a voice rest. Yeah. Oh, here's a good comment. UKIP needs to join Advance UK to increase the numbers. Advance UK is actually increasing in numbers, and it's getting councillors as well. Councillors are slowly moving across to them. UKIP is actually its sort of own entity with Nick Tenconi in charge. It would be great to see them all coming together, but yeah. I think if it gets to the point, say about 2027, and the Greens, the Lib Dems, Labour, all look like they're going to join up to make a super party or a super agreement to keep Reform UK out or someone else, then we have got to be doing some serious thoughts about how we react to that. That is a conversation for another day. But me it being no doubt, the left get together to protect the left. They splinter later, but if they need to get together to stay in power, they'll do it. And they'll make any agreement. They'll break the agreements later, but they'll look coordinated, joined at the hip. Everyone loves them. So if that happens, we've got to be prepared. Yeah, so there you go. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. It's been great to see you, great to engage with you. And once we're all back up fully running and on 12 cylinders again, then everything will be much easier and better. But all I can say is thank you so much for watching and so much for engaging as well. And I'll just say it's good night from me and see you tomorrow.